Hey guys, Thrasher here. Today we're going to talk about the state of Dragon Ball Legends, where the game's at, where I think it's heading. Let's talk about it right now. Okay, so there are generally three areas of concern that I've heard from different people who have watched videos, people in the Reddit chat, people on Discord, and it's the list of characters, PvE, and PvP. So the first thing I want to address is the list of characters. A lot of people are saying, oh, with the amount of characters that we're getting at the speed we're getting them, this game will be dead within a year, maybe even less, because there's only so many characters. That's not true at all from what we've seen so far. I did some back of the napkin math. Just off of basic characters from Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball Super, this isn't even including Dragon Ball GT, which will definitely be in here, and Dragon Ball Heroes if they go that far. If you only have 2 to 3 variations of every single character, we have at least 3 years of characters coming just from what we've seen so far. So this game is nowhere near dead as far as new characters coming out. Don't worry about that. I have no doubt in my mind that they have enough characters set up for at least the next 3 years and probably well beyond that. So the next thing we should talk about is PvE, and this is the area that I'm most worried about, but I'm also not worried. And that's because I don't think we're at PvE endgame yet. A lot of people are saying the content is starting to get a little stale. All we're really getting is just new scout battles, new event battles, and most of the time the new event battles that we get are just hard mode. Yes, that's true, but if you keep in mind that when you look in the tips it says there are 4 difficulties and we've only seen normal and hard, which means there's 2 more difficulties, and that doesn't mean that, oh, okay, it's going to be a little bit harder so we have to do the same stuff over and over again. Yes, that's true, but what that also means is that the developers have not put us into end game yet. We have 2 more difficulties, and then whatever their end game plan is, that hasn't shown up. So if there are new game types that they're going to be thrown in throughout the process here, chances are the really crazy stuff that we're going to see, things that are maybe cooperative raiding, maybe some type of weird, some people have suggested 6-on-6 matches, which I don't think will happen, but any kind of like weird crazy stuff that's end game, we're not there yet. So I think there's still a lot of room for them to throw in new game types that we haven't seen yet, and they're probably on the way. And like I said, they do have a multi-year plan. I used to be a game developer, and I know for a fact that when you're working on something, you have a long-term goal for whatever you're working on. So yes, they have what we have going on right now. They have some stuff that we're going to get in the next few months, but they have some long-term idea of what they're going to be doing 3 years from now, and that may change, but there is some type of a plan there. I promise you that. I've never worked on a game project of any type of scale where there wasn't at least a multi-year plan. Okay, so that's PvE. Now let's get to the big one, PvP. There's a couple different areas of issue here. We'll talk about cheating, what I think cheating is. We'll talk about all that in a second, but first let's talk about people see PvP getting a little stale, and that's because they say, oh, I see a lot of the same teams. One of the things that I've noticed over the last 2 banners or so, maybe last 3 banners, is the teams are starting to broaden out. Now everyone runs Bardock right now because he's crazy OP, that's for sure. But outside of Bardock, you're starting to see a lot of divergence in the teams that people can run, and I think in the future you're going to see even more divergence in the teams that people will run. So I think PvP is going to get far more diverse in the distant future for sure, but probably in the near future we're going to be seeing a lot of teams. Right now I see like 3 or 4 teams. I'm thinking that by the time everything is said and done, when we're 6 months down the line and this game is truly in full swing, you're talking probably 12, 15 teams that are all reasonably strong. You have 3 or 4 teams that are all top tier, but 15 teams that can all compete, that have different compositions. So now let's get to the elephant in the room, cheating. Okay, first off, if you are using a disconnect exploit, if you're doing anything that automatically gives you a win and disadvantages your opponent and they can't utilize it, you're cheating, period. But now let's talk about outside of that. One, the devs are working on that. I've seen them work extremely fast in that area. We're going to have to deal with those kind of cheaters for still quite a while. I'm sure it'll be at least another 6 months before they get it to a point where their systems are in place to stop that kind of cheating, or have it at such a low level that you barely notice it. Now outside of that, let's talk about sidestep techniques, backdash techniques, all these things that people think is cheating when in my opinion it is not. Here is how I define cheating. Cheating is any time that you use something that gives you an advantage that your opponent cannot use. So if you are using a disconnect exploit, if you're using some type of mod that gives you extra vanishing steps, anything that you're doing that another player can't do within the game without breaking the code of the game is cheating. Now if you are utilizing some type of whatever you want to call it, a bug, a glitch, something that is in the game, you can do it, the other player can do it, that is not cheating in my opinion. You see it in every high level competitive game, in Dota 2, there was fountain hooks years ago. In Super Smash there was wave dashing. There's all kinds of stuff where as long as both players can do it, it is not cheating, period. I don't care what you say. The issue then becomes, should sidestep techniques stay in the game, allowing you to get more ki, get more cards? That's really up to the developers to decide. So a developer's job is not to tell you how to play the game. That's not what a developer does. That's not what a developer can do. A developer's job is to set up the rule set that allows you to do whatever you want within that rule set. So if they decide that they don't want sidestep techniques to be a thing anymore, they can change that code so that way when you sidestep, you don't get that little bit of extra ki back. Maybe they'll do that, maybe they won't. But until that point, sidestep techs are in the game. They are usable by both players. They do not give you an unfair advantage. You can do the same thing your opponent's doing. That's not cheating. And this harkens back to when I used to show those videos on the equipment item for Piccolo that was one-shotting people or almost one-shotting them, the equipment item for Goku that was one-shotting or almost one-shotting them. That is not cheating. That is in the game. Both players can do it. It's just something that you have to factor into your gameplay. Watch out for that Piccolo. You don't have to anymore because obviously they changed that. Watch out for the Goku. You don't have to anymore because obviously they changed that. But at the time, it's not cheating. Everyone can do it. It is an even playing field. And that's really all there's to it, and that's how I'm going to view things in the future. So one thing you'll see in my videos is I will always show you something as long as everyone can do it. And there's a lot of things going on in the game right now that I do believe are cheating because not everyone can do it, or if you do it, it automatically puts the other player at a disadvantage and they can't do it. Those things I will never show you, because while I do agree with the idea that the best way to get something fixed is to put it out there so everyone's doing it, and it forces the developers to fix it more quickly, I also think it makes the community very toxic very quickly, and at least in the short term, it's very detrimental to the game. So I'll never show you something like that, but if it's something that can give you an even playing field, I will definitely have it on my videos. And that's really all there is to the state of the game. I think that the game is long-term in a healthy place. Obviously, there are some issues here, but the devs are working on it. I have full faith that they're going to take care of it. And if you guys have anything that you want to throw down there, anything you disagree with me on, make sure to throw it in the comments. And if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.